Objections are something everyone's going to face in a sales process, but understanding what an objection is absolutely important before you try to get into the notion of handling them. In this episode, my friend Spencer Jan is going to talk to you about one of the biggest objections he faced in his life, especially in his business career. And he's going to talk about how he was able to go around adjusting or fixing that objection and resolving it and coming out of the back end with a pretty amazing deal when it's all said and done. Check it out. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist podcast. My name is Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist, and I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And today, as I'm slow down a little bit, on today's episode, I have a good friend coming on the show. His name is Spencer Jan. Spencer and his brother actually launched an amazing product, like several products, and they grew a company. And one of the products they launched is called Solo Stove. Now, if you haven't heard of them, you can go ahead and check them out. If you're watching the video, you can see Solo Stove there pop up. Now, whatever product you're selling, maybe it's not the same obviously scenario, or maybe you're selling a software, you're going to face objection. As we dive into the episode, listen to how Spencer defines objections, how he identifies what they are, and then hear how he was able to face this one and how he and his brother was able to work through it. If this is your first time watching one of our videos or listening to this podcast, please subscribe. It would be greatly appreciated. Let's listen to Spencer.
Especially when it comes to sales, right? I think it's a lack of being on the same page with the person you're talking to, right? And just that disconnect of not understanding the other person, where I think, for me, when I think of objections, that's kind of the definition. It's not that they're rejecting you. It's not that they don't approve of you. It's that there's a gap between where they are and where you are. And I think, to me, that's kind of the definition of objection. The short of it is that in 2016, we made the decision that we wanted to sell our company. It was time for us to move on, and we felt like this company that was great and thriving and just an amazing company when you look at all the metrics of what a healthy company should look like. It was doing well, and we thought it was great, and we went to go try to sell it, and we sat down so we invited in some investment bankers, business brokers, and tried to talk with them, and these are kind of the middlemen between us and a potential buyer of our company. And we sat down with them and we said, this is who we are, this is what we got, and we think it's amazing, and we're ready to sell it. And it was surprising that the feedback we got was that what you have is decent for you guys, but it's not a really sellable company, which just took the wind out of our sail and was very surprising, because it was my brother and I, and we didn't have any employees and we didn't have an office, and we were doing this as kind of this new lifestyle online company, with a lot of the work being outsourced to third-party service providers or logistics, and we thought it was an amazing company. And when it comes to sales numbers, revenue, and profits, it was extremely profitable. We were doing probably $5 to $7 million in sales a year. We were profitable to the tune of probably a couple million dollars each year, and so it was really profitable. And it was just surprising that they were saying, no, this isn't very sellable. And that was kind of the main objection that we kind of faced, is that they didn't think what we had was something that other people would want, and that was surprising to us.
Why did they say that, though? Like, with all those numbers and the stats and the things that you had going on here, like, why couldn't this be sellable? Were they horrible at selling?
yeah, and that was our question too. We were like, why? That doesn't make any sense to me, because it's doing great for us as two individuals making, profiting millions of dollars each year, and that's really hit me, where we didn't understand the potential buyer. We didn't understand who the buyers were, because the buyers weren't us, right? Looking for a lifestyle business. They were looking for something different. And we quickly realized, through talking with them, along with some friends who had previously sold companies, We just asked. We started asking the questions. Okay, well, why is it not? And just like you did, and it came back. It was all those things. They wanted buyers of companies and people who are buying companies generally are looking to invest in companies. They're not looking to pick it up and jump in and operate it. They're companies like private equity, let's take for example, they have a lot of money to deploy, but they're not looking to pick up a company and to jump into it and start operating it and start dealing with the day-to-day problems and figuring out customer service. And they want to invest in a company that's up and going, that has the infrastructure, that has everything built out, that's a well-oiled machine. And after the founders, myself and my brother, would leave, this thing would just keep going. And not just keep going, it would keep growing. And so we started to have to understand what they wanted, and it included all of those things, including like a management team, so that the founders, when they remove themselves, the business wouldn't skip a beat. It included other team members. Did you have your departments built out? Do you have customer service in place? And do you have your sales and marketing in place? And do you have fulfillment all figured out? It included infrastructure like an office. And to us, we thought we had this great company where we could work anywhere in the world as long as we had our laptop. And to me, that was amazing. But to investors in a company who want to purchase it wasn't, because it just didn't feel ideal for them, for a company. And this is pre-COVID, maybe post-COVID, it's a different thought process. But for a company to kind of be remote and location agnostic, it just didn't make sense to them. Other things included product development. What product development did you have kind of in the pipeline? So after we buy this company, what does it look like going forward beyond the years that you've been in the company? And so all of these things kind of came together, and we started to put together a picture of, oh, okay, we don't have a company that other people, in terms of a private equity buyer, we don't have what they're looking for. And it's as simple as what we were talking about as we started this podcast, is just understanding that gap and realizing, what do they want then? For me too, I think there's a lot of just being willing to set your own ego aside, because I think, especially, I know in my previous life when I did a lot of selling, people would get to a level of sales competency and be able to and feel like they're great at selling, and they are in a lot of instances. But every customer is different, and even though it works maybe 9 out of 10 times on somebody else, if you just don't take the time to really come back down to earth and say, okay, let me just make sure I understand what you want, and tailor your messaging to that person, it can go a long way. And I think, at least in my experience, being able to really focus in on the person as an individual, focus in on your customer as an individual is so important, because they're all different in small little ways, and sometimes it just takes a small little tweak to be able to address their needs. So just staying on your toes, I think anybody in sales needs to.
That was Spencer Jan, and I absolutely love that story. If you want to go ahead and connect with him and check out his YouTube channel, please go ahead and do so. My wife has a little business that she's been developing, and Spencer and I, after this episode, was able to chat, and he gave some really good insights I have on my notes here. And I'm going to check out some of his videos, and I recommend you do so as well, because it's just, this dude has done it. He and his brother has done it before and has exited and made a pretty decent amount of money. And he comes with a wealth of knowledge. So I really feel that you could find some benefit from that and check out some of the cool things that he has to offer. Again, back to this episode. If this is your first time watching it, please consider subscribing. If you have never left us a review before, ever, please go ahead and do so. It would be greatly appreciated. I'm thankful that you're here. Thankful for our sponsors and for all the amazing things that they're offering. And I encourage you to take advantage of their tools, because it's a tool. These are things that I use and things that I like, so I recommend them to you tremendously. Again, check them out. As always, I want you to find more ideal customers. I want you to know what to say when you reach out to them. I want you to close more deals. But most importantly, I want you to raise your level of thinking and go out and do big things. Thanks so much for watching.